Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The playoffs officially begin today for the VALORANT World Championship, and as they're about to start, the Rostermania drama around the world has certainly kicked off loud, especially from the Americas. Big rumours as to what they're going to do next season, some rumours beginning the day and other rumours finishing the day off with serious concerns from the Brazilian fanbase. They might be going fully international next year. What players might they target if this is the reality? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Let's dive right into the action because we're going to start here. FNATIC, what's going on there? Mixwell does his pick'ems for the entire tournament. He's got FNATIC making the run against DRX, against PaperX, taking, well, actually losing to Heretics, of course, which is probably not too much of a surprise. Losing to Heretics in the finals as well. But yeah, Boasters like, look, fair play. You've at least got us making a pretty solid run in the tournament here. Do we like Mixwell's bracket? He's got FNATIC, PaperX, Heretics, and NRG in the first round. He's got DRX going out top 8. He's got GiantX going out top 8. Then he's got G2 making at least a solid run. NRG and MIBR falling out top 6. G2 4th. PaperX 3rd. FNATIC 2nd and Heretics winning it. We will see about that. Now, speaking quickly of Alpha, there was an interesting quote here when he was talking about trying to make the grand finals. Now, the top quote in the article kind of makes it sound like he is saying we will make the finals and then we're definitely going to win it, because of course they threw that finals back at the Esports World Cup. But yeah, if we scroll through this article, he actually does go on to say, if we somehow make the final, you can trust us that we are not going to throw the final this time. The thing that's harder is getting there, so we'll get there and then we'll see. So Alpha basically says if we make the finals, there is no way we're going to lose. But making the finals is obviously a harder task than just, well, waltzing through, especially with the way this bracket currently looks. Let's talk about some of the Rostermania stuff. Shados officially looking for a team for next season. As he says, I took a break after the second stage to recover physically and mentally. Now I'm back at it again. Wanted to thank everyone at Koi over the last few years, because of course Koi, they're out of there, right? That organization is cooked out of EMEA, and they will replace them by somebody else. Who is that somebody else going to be? There have been some rumors about it. EMEA, Riot, have confirmed there will be 10 teams looked at for that spot, and they will choose one. Now, the favourites, of course, are going to be Gentlemates, right? And that's been the big rumour and drama certainly coming out of eBay and the guys at Koi, is to say, look, the only reason why they kicked us is because they want to put Gentlemates back in. And look, Gentlemates would be the expected team to come in. If and when they do, I'm sure there will be some more tweets coming out of some of the guys at Koi. But is that the best option? Is Gentlemates the most sensible organisation to choose for this replacement opportunity? And which are these 10 teams, right? There's been some speculation as to which of these organisations might be getting considered. Organisations that either have been right at the top of things or might not be others. You know, people coming up with stuff like this, you know, Gentlemates or, you know, M1, M2, M3, all the way up to M8 might be the teams that are considered. So, you know, stuff like this. Now, what do we think about the Falcons? Because some have also thrown that idea out there into the mix as well. Rocket Bullets even says it. Falcons, of course, Saudi organisation. But I will say for Falcons, there has been a bit of drama. I think they've tried to get into League of Legends before, and Riot have basically said no. There were some rumours, I don't know how valid these are, but there were some rumours anyway that Falcons were trying to get into Valorant by, you know, kind of like buying a spot type thing, but obviously that doesn't really work with Riot's model. So, look, if Riot think that Falcons are a sensible partner for European Valorant, like EMEA, right, of course, including the Middle East, and therefore including Falcons too, that could be a feasible option. I wouldn't be massively surprised, because we know that Riot were initially hesitant to doing the World Cup and allowing Riot to be, or allowing Valorant to be there out in Riyadh. That's of course now happened the most recent season. So Falcons getting into Valorant, if they really want to, feels like at some point that may well happen. Is it going to happen now? That is probably a good question, but I think there is an argument to say, look, the ownership and the relationships there does add some value to the way that Riot will look at it now. So a Gentlemate's going to replace Koi, a Falcons the other key contender. Probably the answer there is yes. There was also some talk here from VCT Scrims that Gentlemates have requested that he doesn't post any of their scrims. So maybe just because they're trialing players, I think that's certainly part of it, but also making it very clear that, yeah, Gentlemates aren't going anywhere, right? And their intention will absolutely be to get that franchise spot, get that partnership spot official. So maybe there's some talk that they're putting a lot of work with the intention to do one thing and one thing only. And apparently Mini will be part of that. So he will be on Gentlemates, we think. His account is linked on Prac, and the CEO said that they would like to keep him, but of course that will be determined by what Riot do, because if Riot say no, we're not bringing Gentlemates in again, as this time as a partner rather than as a guest team, then Mini might well look to go to some other team, rather than staying presumably on Gentlemates down in Tier 2 again, where they will continue to hope that they get that promotion at some point. Giant-X, of course, they are still alive, trying to make a run through the rest of this tournament. We will see how it works out for them in the matches that are coming up very shortly indeed. Before we get to that bracket, let's talk about some of the other Rostermania things, because some talk about what BBL are going to do, and just generally there's theories as to what many of these, well, teams that are based in certain countries are going to decide to do. Rumour has it that BBL will look to return to a full Turkish roster of 5. There's plenty of talent out there in Turkey that they could well continue to have a look at. For esports as well, they might take a slightly different approach. They will certainly still have plenty of Turkish players, but there is a rumour that they're looking at Prox, pretty interesting German player, and Spear, who's Turkish. They're looking at potentially replacing Yetiye as well after a challenging end to the season for them. Also rumours about what Kesnit is going to do. Apparently Kesnit came out on stream and said that I'm going to take a bit of a break, not intending to call it a day entirely, but after a very challenging season for Crew that nearly showed glimpses of turning it around at the end of the year, then of course that never happened, right? So yeah, the future of Crew is very much up in the air, and the future of Kesnit as part of that as well. But the other big rumour that I wanted to get into was around what's happening with Loud, because Verti, according to Rocket Bullets yesterday, said that he will look to remain on the team. He joined this year as a replacement of DGZan. There was a rumour he would leave, but it's likely he will stay. So the roster with, Luxo, who really shouldn't be going anywhere, I don't think. Of course, Pankada, Cowanzan, and what they're doing outside of that is a very good question indeed. But there have now been some serious other theories. This account then quote tweets this with the following, not exactly sure what that implies, but potentially implies not so sure about that one, Buster. And then there was this article that actually dropped as well from Bruno Porelleri, which, if I hit the translation here, said something like the following. Robbie BK, of course, the in-game leader, is gone. Their coach leader is gone as well. The organisation is considering the possibility of a lineup with a majority of foreign players, and the players on the current roster have been notified about this. So it's very interesting because their current team, yeah, Luxo, Cowanzan, Verti and Pankada, but that of course is 3 Brazilian players, and according to what Porelleri is suggesting, that they might look to take this down an entirely different direction and look at a number of different players. So he mentions here that there's a number of trials that they did with Brazilian players, but maybe there's a feeling that they don't believe that going to a fully Brazilian roster again is the way to go. Now, like, if they could bring back Sadak or something and run it back, then yeah, sure, but of course that's not going to happen. Sadak might go back, but we think that he might be going to Crew. That was one of the other rumours as well. So yeah, we'll see, because they have played around, of course, before with players that aren't necessarily Brazilian, but now there's a rumour that actually they might well go majority non-Brazilian, in which case, what would you do, right? Like, if you could choose 2 of Pankada, Luxo and Cowanzan, which 2 are you choosing? What roster are you building? Would Verti be a part of that or not? Lots of questions as to whether Loud really know what they are cooking up at the moment. So yeah, Bruno Porelleri says the players are being informed, the team is considering a majority or even entirely foreign roster. Rocket Bullets throws a picture of Cryo in there just for basically for rage bait. I don't think there's anything necessarily that links those 2 parties for now, but I suppose time will tell. And there was also this floating around as well with Marv photoshopped beautifully well into a Loud jersey. Maybe there's something in that too. Marv and Pankada running it back like they are on the thumbnail. So intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comments. But let's talk about what's going to happen today, because the the playoffs are about to get underway. Giant-X, they play tomorrow against NRG. Heretics play MIBR tomorrow. But today is the big day, right? I mean, wow. We have quite the match to start off the championship. It's PaperX G2 to open things up in the playoffs. FNATIC are going to be the favourites against DRX for sure. You know, I think that FNATIC should win that series. But who knows, right? I think DRX have impressed me a lot so far. I'm taking FNATIC in a 2-1, I think. And then PaperX G2, very difficult to call. But I think I'll give PaperX the 2-1 edge in that as well. I think they've just looked a little bit too good lately, and of course they are going to be the favourites after G2 made it out of their group, but did not make it out of their group especially convincingly. But yeah, it's a banging start to the day, and if those two results do go like that, then it might well be what it would be in that scenario. A DRX G2 loses round 1 game, a loser goes home top 8. But whatever happens, it's going to be a pretty remarkable state of affairs. So very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Who's going to win tonight? Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.